Remember when I told you before the election, I said, if he's elected, you better go out and buy a gun. Because they will skyrocket in price and you'll be lucky to be able to get shells. I was at Cabela's over the holiday. How about you? Hollywood and the president want to ban guns. Anyone latching onto this train of thought is not addressing the why. It's not the guns. Even Mr. Bowling from Columbine, Michael Moore, admitted it's not it. Here's what he said. He didn't even realize it, but he did say. He was making a different idiotic point, and Michael Moore said this. Listen to this.
Now, not every house has a gun, but we've got over 250 million guns in people's homes. And they're mostly in the suburbs or rural areas where there's virtually no crime and no murder.
By the way, nobody is mentioning, I've seen this stuff from Michael Moore. Not a single soul has mentioned that Michael Moore's bodyguard was arrested in Newark Airport over the holidays for carrying an unregistered gun. So the guy saying we need more regulation hires a guy to protect him with an unregulated gun. I mean, why would you do that, Michael? Why? Makes you question why he says what he says, doesn't it? The biggest gun control push is coming against so-called assault weapons, as if that will stop people from wanting to shoot children. That's like putting a Band-Aid on your finger for a heart attack. The real problem is much deeper and much bigger and is in our own home, and it is not the gun or the type of gun. Let me ask you this. Were there more guns in homes in 1940 per capita or now? How about 1840 per capita then or now? What's the difference? It's not the what, it's not the how, it's the why. I told you at the beginning of the broadcast I really hoped that I would come back in a go get 'em sort of mood and that you would come back and you'd be ready to go for another round, but I'm not. Are you? I'm rested from vacation. I'm ready to go back to work, but in a totally different way. I'm not, I don't give a flying crap about Washington at all. At all. I know what they do affects me, and affects me greatly. Huge. But I'm coming back more concerned for our future than ever, and that's saying something, because I'm not really an optimistic guy. Sandy Hook shooting impacted me. I had a hard time sleeping all the way through vacation. And the failure of the media to cover the why made things even worse. No one cares to address the why, let alone try to solve it. We have to do both, and we have to do both quickly. Because if you understand the why, you understand we're in much deeper trouble because we've lost our kids. We've lost our politicians and common sense. We've lost our media. We've lost them, or our communities. But we're losing our kids, and it's happening right under our nose. This is much worse than the indoctrination at schools. The culture we have created is bringing up a generation of zombie killers who are practically dead inside. I don't know about you, but I've raised my older kids and now my younger kids. And it was hard 15 years ago to raise kids. It is damn near impossible to do it today. It takes a Herculean parenting effort to raise a child who isn't self-obsessed, egomaniacal, a kid who does care and understand the value of life. While I was on vacation, my son, who's 8 years old, asked me out of the clear blue, and it was amazing. This is what gave me nightmares. My son said to me, and we weren't talking about it. We didn't talk about what happened in the shooting. We didn't talk about it. He's 8. He said, "Dad, sometimes the computer and video games jumble me up inside. They mix me up inside." And he asked for help. I was like, oh my gosh. Now, of course, nobody's really interested in getting off. But that was a cry for help. That hit me hard. If that's not a cry for help, I don't know what is. I'm trying to limit him, but he's fighting it every step of the way. And how do I do that alone? It's like I'm watching a spiritual battle play out inside his little soul. And I don't know exactly how to help him win. Imagine anybody with young children. If you are aware of what's going on really, you're fighting exactly the same battle. And if it's not video games, it's body image or fashion magazines or texting or the movies. I mean, gosh, I went to, what's that horrible Tom Cruise movie that just came out? Jack Reaper or whatever. Ooh, missed that one. My wife and I went and saw it, and it was immediately an impact. I mean, because it was shooting. It was a guy shooting people on the streets, and nobody said anything. Hollywood didn't even think to pull that movie and say, you know, we should wait on that one. No. What our kids are seeing now, all the time. This culture that we have created is seeping into our kids, and they don't know anything different. When was the first time you saw a dead body, a realistic dead body or a dead body when you were a kid? I never saw it on TV. I remember the first time I saw a guy drop dead in front of me and he turned all purple. I remember it. Kids see that stuff all the time. All the time. We remember a time before all of this crap. We can look at things and we can process. They don't. It is terrifying to think of what kind of effect the things that we are allowing our kids to say, oh, they understand, and allowing them to see the effect that it actually will have and is already happening. We're already there. With the shootings, the guns were not invented yesterday. And not only that, how about the YouTube fights and the teen flash mobs as they vandalize and rob stores? They're dead inside. They don't feel anything. Why? Why? I had a little sleep over vacation. And not because of the country, not because of the world, not because of anything, but because of my kids. My bishop came over to my house. I talked to him. I called my best friends over where my kids play with their kids. And I said, look, we have to have some sort of a plan. I'm developing it in my own personal life, but I'm not going to avail it on this program yet because I'm not going to give anybody any head start. I'm going to do it in my life, and if you don't want to do it in your life, that's totally cool. But I believe it is imperative that families have access to information and a plan, and we start to link together. I mean, I thought we were behind the 8 ball on the culture war before vacation, but how sadly mistaken I was. It's a lot worse than we think. It's in our own homes and our own families. And tomorrow night is an episode on this program that you do not want to miss. The beginning of the real problem behind the school shootings and the violence with our kids.